Imagine inside every single one of us, there's a light. Just like any other light, the more you feed that light, the more it grows. And the more it grows, the brighter it becomes. Now, if we have lights in all of us, I'm not just concerned about making my light brighter, but if we focus on others' lights, we can make their light grow as well. Now, some lights are darker than others. Some lights are dimmer than others. Some lights you can barely even see. All the more reason to focus on their light and make their light grow. The more all of our lights grow, the brighter all of our lights become. And the brighter our lights become, the brighter the world becomes as well. July 22nd, 2015, I got news of a tumor on my spine between the L4 and L5 vertebra. I didn't know if this tumor was cancerous. I didn't know if it was benign. I didn't know if it was spreading as I spoke. I just knew that I had a tumor in a part of my body that I didn't want it to be. So I did what any normal surfer in San Diego did, or would do. I took my surfboard and I started walking to the ocean. About a block into the walk, I had one of those moments. One of those moments you only have maybe once or twice in your life. Where your life is before that moment and after that moment. Because of that moment, your life will never be the same. All of you guys can close your eyes with me and take a deep breath. And out. If you want to open your eyes, you can. In that moment, for the first time in my life, everything came to a stop. Fear, goals, push, dreams, doubts, all came to a complete stop. And I felt the greatest peace come over me. I remember feeling like my tumor was to the side of me. And I wish I could give you a word you've never heard before, but I was in touch with and held by and connected to the greatest love I'd ever felt. This love I knew in that moment wasn't dependent on anything. It wasn't dependent on who I was or who I wasn't. It didn't depend on what I had or what I didn't have. It just was. I also got in that moment, the craziest part was that it had always been here. And it was always going to be here. Underneath that tumor, underneath my skin, underneath all the things on the outside, that entire time existed this peace and this love. And for the first time in my life, in that small moment, I got a glimpse of the truth of who I was. So, surgery went great. Took the tumor out. I had 18 staples on my spine, 17 on the inside, but the surgery couldn't have gone better. The healing couldn't have gone better. And my rehabilitation couldn't have gone better. Took a couple months to get back onto my feet. And as I got back onto my feet, I couldn't get out of my mind the most overwhelming desire that I wanted more of that peace. What was that love that brings tears to my eyes still? How do I find out more about my truth? So I decided to travel the world, dedicated to studying the people that dedicated their lives to being living examples of that peace that I felt, of that truth that I felt, and of that love. So I left on a 13-country tour. 13 countries were the white yarn that you see, but the part we're going to focus on today is that red triangle. I love this part. I did this on my own. Zoom in. Yeah. So that red triangle right there represents not just the people who dedicated their lives to being examples of that peace and love that I spoke of, but those are where the 5 largest religions existed. From right to left, I started in Nepal and China to study Buddhism. I went into India to study Hinduism. I went into the Middle East, Oman and Qatar to study Islam. And last, I ended in Israel, studied Judaism and Christianity. Two biggest takeaways I could give you. Number one, you don't need to travel the world to find that peace, to find that love, and to find that truth. Number two, every person, every country, and every religious faith had and desired that same truth, that same love, and that same peace. Right around that time, 2 weeks after I returned, I got a phone call. A phone call that changed my life. A friend of mine was an audiologist, and she called me and asked me if I could volunteer and play music at Rady Children's Hospital, and they were doing an event across the street at Ronald McDonald House of San Diego. Towards the end of the event, a woman approached me. She asked me if I could play music for her daughter, who was a patient at the hospital at Rady Children's. I could hear the magnitude in her voice. And she said, my daughter's wish is to hear a song on guitar. As I got to the hospital and I walked into her room, I met Sophie, 12 years old, who'd gone in for a routine surgery and had gone awry. And she now had an infection that was getting progressively worse. Played one of her favorite songs. I played I'm Yours by Jason Mraz. As I walked out of Sophie's room, I closed the door behind me. I stepped to the side. I couldn't stop crying. I'd played that song a million times, but I'd never done something so easy for me and made such an impact on someone else's life. Started walking down the hall, got to about halfway to the elevator, and I heard 50 for 50. And I put my fists up because I saw 50 here and 50 over here. 50 for 50. This was the birth of the Music is Medicine Tour. Now the name Music is Medicine Tour, I was playing music for a young girl. For all I know, it was on her last day of living, and it was such medicine. I could see her light up. Music is medicine. And I'm going to make a tour out of it. One goal, 50 hospitals, 50 states. That's what 50 for 50 meant. 50 hospitals, 50 states. One hospital in every state, including Hawaii and Alaska. One rule was you had to play music for people in need. Didn't matter if it was children's hospitals, elderly care facilities, veteran centers, or home visits. And the last one, my wingman, my confidant, my partner, and my home. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to introduce you to the one and only Jambulance. You guys go crazy. Give me a round of applause. The backstory is, my childhood friend calls me and said, Ryan, are you doing a medicine tour across the country, playing music at hospitals, and you're looking for an ambulance? I said, yeah, is that crazy? He said, yeah, and I've got your ambulance. He was a paramedic in the past. He had bought an ambulance for his family. He was going to gut everything. He was going to take off the sirens and the lights and use it for a camping van for his family. I said, no, keep everything on there. Second part of the story is a student of mine that I taught in 6th grade who's now 23. He calls me and goes, Coach, are you doing a tour across the country singing for people in need? I said, yeah, is that cool? He said, yeah, but do you have a name yet? And I was like, I got like Ryan the Rocking Machine, something stupid. He's like, Coach, I got your name. You got to call it the Jambulance. That was it. When you know, you know. For the next 9 months, I left on the most humbling experience of my life. I've never been so proud of myself, and I've never been so proud of what my life stood for as I beat the microphone this side. That blue dot right there is in San Diego where I started. I went clockwise. September 6th, I left into the heart of winter. Stupid. All the way around. Pennsylvania, got there, flew home to see Santa Claus and my family, flew back, finished the tour, and 9 months later, and ended in Hawaii. So Alaska and Hawaii, we finished those off. Now the results, those check marks, 50 hospitals, 50 states, 78 hospitals. 25,348 miles, which is 1,408 gallons of gas. $66,000 raised by all the donors at GoFundMe, which if it weren't for them, it wouldn't have been able to be possible. 26 Walmarts, and 21 Planet Fitnesses. That's where the Jambulance and I spent the night. Total of 9 months on the road, as I told you, with only one breakdown. And the last part, with a roaring round of applause after I say this line, over 1,500 patients played and visited for. Yeah. The most common question I was asked on tour, when I got back from tour, and still to this day, how did you do that, Ryan? How did you go into rooms with kids that were 5 years old, going through chemotherapy with a brain tumor? How did you go visit someone on their last day of living and learn their favorite song for them, and then leave and get back in your van and do it again and again and again? My first answer is I cried a lot. Nearly every time I got back in that Jambulance, I would burst into tears, lots of emotion. But the reason I was able to keep going is because I was learning to become witness to something I never knew existed before. See the light, be the light. Third state in, Spokane, Washington. I'm about to play my first Shriners Children's Hospital. I played it 3 on tour, but this was the first. Shriners Children's Hospital, very well known. I was about to go into hundreds of children. I had no idea what to expect. I was nervous. Out of the Jambulance, I remember having the guitar in my right hand. My left foot hits the ground, my right foot hits the ground. Out of my mouth came, see the light, be the light. See the light, be the light. Everything started to make sense. I went back to that moment. When I had my surfboard in the middle of the street, I felt my tumor to the side of me. I had the greatest peace, the greatest love. Light. Went back to traveling the world, studying all the people that have dedicated their lives in search of finding that peace, that truth, the light. And now here I was, my job, my duty, my responsibility, my obligation was to see these people, not for their cancer, not for their age, not for their tumor, not for any circumstance, but other than the light. Underneath all that was that same peace, that same truth, and that same light. I stood up here in the beginning and I held that lantern to you guys and I said, we all have a light inside. Just imagine if we all had a light inside. And if you feed that light, it grows and it becomes brighter. I wish you could be with me in those hospitals. The little kids, they were so scared before surgery. And I'd come in and start playing music. And I'd start opening up a little bit. And I just focused on those kids. I focused on that light inside. And they would open up and smile. Kids, pretty easy. It was the elderly in their wheelchairs, barely awake. I'd come in and play. I didn't even know if they could hear me. And I started playing. And the first few it was not gigs, the first few hospitals that I played at were difficult for me. And I had my egg shakers with me. You can all have at the end of tonight, I'll give you the egg shakers. But the egg shakers were the magic. I'd put them in their hand, and I'd close their hand and start shaking it. Before you knew it, they'd start to wake up. And it was difficult, but if you looked past all that, you knew there was life inside there. You knew it. They would start to wake up right in front of my eyes. It was the cutest thing, the funniest thing. They start to try to get out of their chairs and start to dance. A doctor asked me one time, he says, what did you say to those people? Or what did you say to them? I said, Doc, I didn't say anything. All I did was focus. I really believe there's some light and life inside them. He interrupted me and said, yeah, well, you made that apparent. Guys, what I learned is when you see past all the outside and someone else and you see the light, they will be the light right back to you. Ladies and gentlemen, when we make it our focus to see the light in one another, we will be the light together. See the light, be the light. Thank you. Y'all didn't think I was going to end the Music is Medicine tour without a song. This song, enjoy. It's called Good Ray Vision. What if we knew that even when it's dark at night, the sun never goes down, it's just on the other side? What if we only saw the good in the world we lived in, no matter what someone said or did, 'cause we had good ray vision. Ooh, ooh, doesn't it feel good to see the good? Ooh, ooh, doesn't it feel good? Ooh, ooh, doesn't it feel good to see the good? Ooh, ooh, doesn't it feel good? Let's pretend it's our job to find the good things between us. Look for similarities instead of all the difference. Stop taking it for granted. How we look at one another. Which glasses are you wearing? Are they positive or negative color? Ooh, ooh, doesn't it feel good? See the good. Ooh, ooh, doesn't it feel good? I'd ask you guys to clap, but don't, because it'll be off beat. No, ooh, ooh. All right, give it a shot. I'll try it. Feel good. Feel good. Wow. Ooh, ooh, doesn't it? Better than I thought. All right, stop. Here's the truth. When you see the best in people, you get the best from people. When you see the light in others, they will treat you like your brother. When you're walking down the street, doesn't matter who you meet, offer up a grin, now you're ready to begin. Ooh, doesn't it feel good to see the good? Ooh, doesn't it feel good? Ooh, doesn't it feel good to see the good? Ooh, doesn't it feel good? It's been an honor being here tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Doesn't it feel good?